how to handle catastrophes, how to handle things that you're not expecting that can go wrong, not with your home, not with your property, but in the bigger picture, and what you can do to make your guests comfortable. Hi everybody, today we're going to talk about something that nobody wants to experience, but we all will, and that is some kind of a catastrophe and how we can handle it with our vacation rentals. So that could be anything from a tornado, a hurricane, a fire, or even something like a riot or construction that might be an issue. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about a few things first to lead up to that. One of them is knowing the area. When people sign our guest book, and when we first started doing this and people signed our guest book, I was really surprised at what they put. I thought they would talk more about the property, what they liked about the property, what they liked about our home. But what they put in every time was their favorite restaurants, their favorite activities to do. They were sharing that, not necessarily to let us know as the owners, but to let the next guests know. We need to do the same thing. We need to make sure we're telling people what our favorite activities are, what our favorite restaurants are, because they want to do that. But we have a responsibility beyond that, and that's to tell them everything else they could need. What is the closest hospital? What is the closest urgent care? What are some gas stations in case they want to compare gas prices, or one station is out of gas that they might want to go to that's not on the beaten path? Because let's face it, we've all been tourists, and while some people like to go off and explore, most people are going to stay right where all the tourist activities are. So it's our job to let them know about these other places. Where can they shop for groceries? Where's another place they can shop for groceries? And doing that is going to help them in a catastrophe. Here's how. Remember last summer when people were traveling, at least I saw on my Facebook, and they would say, I'm driving home from this state and we're here and we can't find gas and all the gas stations are out of gas. The problem is that they might only be looking at the same gas stations that everybody else was looking at. If we can teach our guests some of the other places to go, some of the off the path, so to speak, gas stations, then that can help them in that situation. What if there is something where an entire grocery store was closed? They need to be able to know where else to get groceries. What if they have a sick kid? They need to know where to go for that. One of our kids one night went to bed totally fine, came in our room in the middle of the night, crying, bawling. He just did not feel good. Well, we figured out that he had swimmer's ear, probably from swimming all day. So in the middle of the night, my husband is getting up, trying to find a pharmacy 1,000 miles from home in an area that he wasn't familiar with. By getting our guests that information in advance, we're able to help them should they have that need. Let's go back to the catastrophe. Let's say that there is a fire, and so they need to be able to evacuate, or there's a tornado and they need to be able to find shelter. If we can let them know where those things are or how to get out of town, then they're able to have that information in advance in case something happens. You're probably wondering, how do you stay on top of this? And we've got a couple different ways that can help you. One is Facebook groups. So if you have a Facebook group for your community or for the town or for the national park or state park or whatever your home is by being a part of that, you're going to find out stuff firsthand as it's happening from the people who are more local than you are. So you can be 500 miles away and still know that a tropical storm or a flood has hit your area, or that there's a big construction or a big concert or something going on that might change patterns of traffic or restaurant hours or whatever that might be. Those are a big way to stay on top of things, to be able to share them with your guests. And then you can let them know, hey, we just heard this happen, so now if you want to get to the house, this is the best way to go. Those are things that are available to you pretty easily with all of technology and the groups and the websites that are out there. So when one of these things happens where you feel like you need to touch base with your guests to make sure things are going okay for them, all you need to do is call them, text them, email them, whatever your form of communication is. It can be as simple as, hey, how are things going? Hey, I heard there's tornado warnings. Are you okay? Hey, I heard there's tornado warnings. I just want to remind you where the safest place to go is in case that happens. Those are all things that they're going to appreciate, that lets them know that you care. Because here's the thing, we can't control when these things happen. We can't control when a big storm comes or a flood comes or a fire comes or anything else. But we do have the great blessed responsibility with these properties to make sure our guests have a good time to the best that we can, or at a bare minimum feel safe if crazy weird things come up, like a tornado, like a fire. And the reason we have to do this is because we get blessed as an owner to help somebody make great memories with their family and friends. And in order to take that responsibility seriously, one of the things we need to do is check in on them in these kind of situations. So here's a story that happened to us. A few years ago, we took our kids on a national park tour. One of the places that we went to, we were all excited because we were going to get in the water and do some swimming and go riding on our paddle boards. But we were starving. It was dinner time. We have 4 boys, found a restaurant to go to, and we went in and ate. But while we were eating, we noticed it kept getting darker and hazier and harder to see. So for example, we could see one part of town when we got into the restaurant. By the time we left, it was not even close to being in our sight because of all the haze. Well, there were fires quite a distance away, certainly not close enough that we would have to evacuate the property, and nobody did. But the haze from those fires was affecting where we were. So we still were able to go out and enjoy the water and get on the paddle boats. But by the next morning, and even that night, it was really, really, really getting hard to see. So all the fun tourist things we wanted to do, like enjoy the views, were not possible. We were at a hotel that was pretty pricey for what you got. That was just typical in that particular area. There weren't many hotels, and so they were all pricey, and they weren't as nice for that price as you might find somewhere else. Very clean, just not super fancy necessarily. My husband and I talked, and we're like, we just don't want to stay here at that price and not be able to do anything that we want to do. We had been gone almost 3 weeks at this point. We were kind of ready to go home rather than stay in a hotel room because we couldn't do anything else because we couldn't see. So we went to the hotel management and asked them if we could leave a day early. Now keep in mind, we've already paid. They don't have to let us do that. They could have made us stay, but they understood the situation. They saw we had 4 kids, and they were actually willing to let us leave a day early, and we received the entire amount back on our night stay for that night. I'm not suggesting that you necessarily do that because you can't refund everyone's entire trip. You do have to make money because first of all, it's a business, and second of all, you have expenses with it. But you do need to think of how you could compensate somebody for what they're experiencing if it's out of their hands and out of your hands. Again, we can't give away the bank. We need to make money, and they certainly understand that. That doesn't mean you can't do something extra nice. Like maybe you're going to send them some money via Venmo or some other way so they can go out to dinner on you. Or better yet, see if you can give them a night's free stay if the storm is passing and they're going to leave on a Thursday and the storm is supposed to pass on Thursday, and Friday and Saturday are going to be sunny. If you don't have any other guests staying, maybe give them Thursday night free. It was going to be empty anyway. You're not losing money. Maybe you could give them money to go to a local attraction. That would be another way to say, hey, I want you to have a good time. I'm sorry this has happened. Let me see what I can do to help. Again, you can't give away everything, but the idea is to let them know that you care and help them make a good memory that might otherwise not have happened because of the situation. That's all. That's what I wanted to share with you guys today. How to handle catastrophes, how to handle things that you're not expecting that can go wrong, not with your home, not with your property, but in the bigger picture, and what you can do to make your guests comfortable. And if you want a vacation rental, or you're even thinking about it and you want more content like this to help you in the journey, click like and subscribe and you will get it every week.